Hey, happy Wednesday. You are on the Heart of Success show, and I'm your host, Larissa Vakulina. I go live every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Adelaide time. And here on this show, I talk about success and I share tools, tips, methods, and motivation and inspiration for you to create success in all areas of your life, and also sharing my own experience and knowledge and research. So today, I decided to pull out all my research that I've done about feelings of overwhelmed at work. So this is the topic that is so important for me because I'm putting together a workshop for anyone who would like to explore this area and who feels very overwhelmed with work and other commitments in their lives. So it is absolutely staggering statistics that explaining what really is happening in our workforce and what's happening with productivity at work and how we spend in our time and what we actually doing during work time and what's happening with evolution and progress of us in our workforce. So let's go quickly back into the 30s, where the economies start to get out of the Great Depression, and the jobs been abundant at that time, and average person was putting about 48 hours of work, solid work time a week. So now let's go 40 years forward. So it's 1970s where the automation has helped us to reduce these hours up to almost 10 hours per week. And in average, any worker was putting about 39 hours of working period a week. So, what happened next was very funny, right? Like when we're looking at the statistics right now, this downturn trend was actually stopped. And today, with we have technology that also blurred the clear boundaries between work and life. Whereas in the past, workers are very strongly been fighting to separate work time and lifetime. So right now, it's all really having no boundaries. That we, especially right now for the last two years when we've been moved to work from home, this is even more unclear. So I would like now to get into the statistics, and I'm going to read you some of the very, very interesting and staggering facts that been researched and surveyed through all these years and through the evolution of what's happening right now. So basically, I would like to start with that 94% of professionals working more than 50 hours per week, and while half of this saying that they put almost 65 hours per week. Can you imagine that amount of time that professional people put into towards their working week? So most professionals also spend only around 38% per day on their core skills. So it means that there's a lot of interactions happening within the day with any person that is involved in their work tasks. And what's happening next, I'm going to just read all of these statistics, and you can see how it is so shocking to realize that that with technology we actually find ourselves more interrupted and less focused on meaningful work. So 95% of American population admit that they have regular procrastination. Well, this is the issue that more related to our emotional states rather than the management of our days and our work periods of time. But anyway, this is the part of the statistics, and that's where I felt like it would be interesting to share that with you too. So. So on average, people spend about 29% of their workday on communication. So what does that mean? Well, it means that 10%, I'll find it because I kind of, 40% of productive time at work is spent on multitasking. So the average knowledge worker only has about 1 hour and 12 minutes of productive, completely focused work time a day without being interrupted by email or messages. That is a barely 1 hour a day or 6 hours total per week without negative effect of multitasking with communication. So that's really is kind of shocked me to see how dispersed our focus is. And if we have some major project, or if we have some meaningful big projects to perform, how we have dispersing our focus, and we constantly interacting in some other meaningless information or meaningless little tasks that we are constantly putting and dispersing our attention to. So 70% of people keep their inbox open all day, and only 2% have deliberate plan on how to deal with emails. Only 10% of people say that they feel in control with their workload. 12.8% of people say they feel like they spend all their time reacting to other people. So unhappy workers are 10% less productive than their more joyful colleagues. So researchers find that a disconnect between personal and company values were the most common cause of the lack of meaningfulness in at work. So this is a big area of where we, people go and automatically invest in their time and seems like their effort into the businesses and organizations where their values not connecting to the values of the company. So, but again, that's another issue. Why would you stay with such a business of such a company? Again, that's a personal choice, but I'm just naming you, and I'm sharing with you all of this data that really is kind of shocked me, because I was really interested in find out a bit more of how the time that we spend in our daily work period, how it is distributed among different tasks that we perform. So 40% of our productive time is spent on multitasking. On average, 12% of overall emails where people asking you to do things. So here again, we have to be so focused in our own needs and in our own projects so that we know how to say no. I was talking about it on my previous episode, and that's what the statistics is saying, that 12% of overall emails where people asking you to do things. So this is again goes into your emotional stability, into your groundness and your prioritizing and time management skills, so that you can gracefully and respectfully say no to someone, because it's just absolutely overwhelming to even read all of this statistical data that we have in average everywhere. So every additional task or tool you switch to, it's up to 20% of your productivity. Can you just feel what I'm saying here? So every time You jump from one task to another, from one tool to another, and that's what we always doing with all of our social platforms and things. It eats up about 20% of our productivity. So another interesting fact is that most people, or average in all people, spending almost 47% of their working hours thinking about something other than they are currently doing. So can you just feel into this? 47% people, when they actually at work doing something, they think 47% of people thinking about different things, different from what they're doing. So imagine attention, imagine focus, imagine the quality of their attention to what they're doing. So another interesting point is that studies have found that most people multitask during 40% of their day. That's we already discussed. So 15% of your time goes to meetings. And what was interesting that most of the people find that after each meeting, they thinking that I really didn't need to be there. So there's a lot of going on in different cultures of the businesses and companies, where sometimes people spend a lot of time at the meetings, and most of the workers and most of the contributors into the projects found that they feel that they didn't need to be in that particular meetings. So answering emails, messages, IMs, and other communication takes up to additional 25-30% of the day. So some studies saying it can take up to 23 minutes and 15 seconds to return to your original task after being interrupted. So how many times we interrupted by messages, by emails, by all of these things, if we're not really even blocking a particular time for these tasks. So it takes us 23 minutes and 15 seconds to return back to the original task that we've been doing after the interruption. According to Dr. David Meyer, even brief mental block created by shifting between tasks can cost as much as 40% of our productive time. So it's like when I read all of this, I just really was feeling that there's, especially right now in all of these technological advances and all of these grander tasks and grander ideas and things that we having by utilizing technology, we advance in one side, but we also have all of this interrupting little things that are taking our focus off and taking our time off, and it takes so long for us to get back into the focus of doing the original task that we actually plan to do. So this is really a very staggering information, and I found it the impulse to share it with you today, because that's what really is happening right now. There's so many people are overwhelmed with their tasks and with all the other things, and working from home is even more overwhelming. So in one hand, some people are saying no, it was increase in their productivity, but some other people reporting that there is obviously more hours spent, less boundary between the work and family time, and so all of these things needs to be considered. And again, we need to learn how we can start to understand all of these things to be able to create for our own work standards and for our own personal unique way of how we can manage overwhelm and how we can help ourselves to actually be aware and mindful about how we distribute our focus and time between our tasks. So the other interesting issue was that another research shows that 29% of people say that they regularly work in the evening and weekends, and while 40% of workers use their work computers after 10 p.m. during the week time. So this is really it's like we never stop to work. So like we never stop. We are like a bees, constantly being busy. But what are we busy about? This is the great question we need to ask ourselves. And researchers at University College London found that those who worked more than 55 hours per week had 13% greater risk of heart attack, and were 33 more likely to suffer a stroke compared to those who worked 35 or 40 hours per week. So the Finnish Institute of Occupational Health found that people who worked long hours were 11% more likely to be heavy drinkers. So as we believe that the more and the longer we work, we would achieve more performance and we would achieve more of our goals that we planned. The research shows that beyond the hours of 35 and 40 per week, it is already become to be very dangerous for our health and well-being. So another study has shown that extended working hours don't necessarily make us more productive, and anything beyond 49 hours worked a week can have negative impact on our productivity, not only on our health, but productivity as well. So this is really a very, I would say, very allowed science and allowed statistics and effects showing us that we kind of have moved in the last 40 years into something that is becoming less and less and less manageable to help us to stay well, to help us to enjoy our lives more, to help us to actually achieve work-life balance, become happy, become joyful. So it seems like all of these concepts of happiness and joyfulness and health and wellness is really becoming far away from us than it was back in 1970s, in accordance to this data. So another thing is that with all this technology, there is a concept that called unpaid digital labor. So this is something that is kind of appeared 10, 15 years ago when your boss asks you to work to just check your email because there's some urgent message come from the client or the supplier, and you already at home, you already relaxed and you want to spend your time at your on your life. In your life, there's an urgent requirement from the boss to check up this urgent email, and then you spend another maybe half an hour or something to deal with that, and no one pays you for this work. So unpaid digital labor. So the workload pressures is the single greatest cause of work-related illness, and it is increasing and increasing and increasing with us using more technological advances that we have right now. So I just shared with you this stuff so that you can start to relate maybe some of these statistical data to how you feel at work and what you do at work and how you use your time and your energy and your focus, how you disperse your tasks within your working hours, and what is really consuming a lot of your time, because it seems like that there's a lot of a lot of things that people not having any awareness or understanding of how their working day is actually going. So understanding where our time goes, and it is the first step to work towards management of the feeling of overwhelm and towards balance. So don't leave it to a chance. And if you feel somehow related to all of this data that I shared with you today, so it's a great time to actually pay attention to it, and it is a sign that we cannot really leave it unattended, because that will then bring burnout, and burnout can bring more stress, and more stress can bring illness, and illness can stop you from working completely. So I have these 3 points today that really I would like to say to you. Don't ignore any signs of overwhelm, and don't think that they're gonna to go away just because you're thinking that way, right? Secondly, you need to start to work towards understanding what are your triggers, where and how your time is spent day after day after day. And thirdly, if you don't know how to actually approach all of these issues of overwhelm, I just invite you to seek help and ask for help, and even like consider the possibility that you maybe even can jump to my workshop that I'm putting together to help you to break through the vicious cycles of your overwhelm, and help you and equip you with the tools and tips to sorry, I need to just have a So I'm putting together that workshop, and I actually would like to share with you right now the link that you can actually visit and maybe register yourself for this workshop, because it's only 90 minutes, and it's gonna to go deeper into a few areas of where I believe is really important to visit in terms of understanding why we feeling overwhelmed with our work, and also it's really your choice. So I think to start to assist yourself, you have all the options and opportunities to really start to look at this area of your life, which is really, really important. At least to spend 90 minutes on the concept of understanding of what it involves with your feelings of overwhelm. That really is something that I would like to share with you on my workshop that is going to be on 26 and 27 of September. And you can register yourself through that link that I'm showing now on the screen. And I would like to get into these comments here. So MJ is here. Thank you so much. Yes, I know. It's like unbelievable of how all these figures and statistical data is having deep research in our work performance and in our feelings of stress and overwhelm. That's just unbelievable. So no wonder they have to put in additional hours. Of course, well, because we try to achieve what we have, and we have our goals. But because, as you could see, we spending about like 40% of our time on multitasking with communication, because we're looking at all our emails and our other messages, and we try to be engaged and answering and things like that. And also, if we spend a lot of time by making all of these meetings that sometimes are really taking a lot of our time, and they're not really productive. So thank you, MJ. I hope that helped you a little bit to understand how being overwhelmed at work is really affecting our performance. And oh my God, it's like 1 hour and 12 minutes. It is actually average for us to left in a day to be fully, deeply focusing and concentrating on our task. All the other time is dispersed for multitasking, emailing, messaging, dealing with all the other stuff, maybe helping other people. And oh my God. So that's all I wanted to tell you today. And yes, I would like to put some music back again. Let me find it. And I will come back again on Wednesday next week at 2 p.m. to share with you some more information on Overwhelm, or maybe something else. Maybe we can go and move into a bit more deeper understanding and emotional and psychological parts of all of this tendency that we going lately, completely stretching ourselves so far that I afraid it will create a lot of tragedies. All right. Thank you so much for being with me today. And I'm putting my music back, and I'll see you next week.